Since the ban list dropped earlier this week, I've been toying around with Wild Chalice, and what I'm going to do in today's video is I'm going to show you 3 different combos you could do with Wild Chalice in different builds that end on some good to some interesting boards. So we're going to start off with this 2-card combo here. This is in a pure Wild Chalice deck, not trying to use any other engines whatsoever, and it's going to be a vanilla Wild Chalice monster, or any vanilla monster that you can normal summon, and Wild Legacy Wild Chalice. So we're going to start with normal summoning our Crown to the Wild Chalice and turning it into a copy of Imduk. Imduk is going to bestow us with an extra normal summon, so we're going to normal summon our Wild Chalice, and then we're going to immediately link it off for a copy of Almirage. This is going to trigger our Wild Legacy Wild Chalice to summon 2 Wild Chalice monsters from the deck, and we're going to summon Lee and a copy of the level 3, which I forget the name of, Chosen. The Lee is then going to add a Wild Chalice Guard Dragon from deck to hand, and we have 5 levels on the board, including a vanilla Wild Chalice monster, so we're going to synchro summon an Ib. From here, we can use Ib to search for a Wild Legacy Succession, and then we can immediately use that Succession to summon back the Wild Legacy Wild Chalice. That's 2 level 5 monsters, including a tuner, so we can make a Baron de Fleur. From here, we're going to use Ib's effect when it leaves the field to special summon a Beckoned from the deck, and we're going to turn the Beckoned into a second copy of Imduk. We're then going to link our Almirage and our Imduk away to go for a Lib, since we do have a Wild Legacy monster in our graveyard, and we are going to use the effect of Imduk after being linked off to special summon this Wild Chalice Guard Dragon. From here, we can use the Ib's effect to set a Wild Legacy Guard Dragon from our deck, and we can link off the Wild Chalice Guard Dragon for a Pisty. From here, we can use the Guard Dragon to bring back the Guard Dragon, and use the effect to move the Pisty away, and use the Pisty to bring back this copy of Imduk. From here, we can use Lee's effect in Graveyard to remove our Lib from the extra monster zone, so we have space to go for a copy of Seals, since it only works in the EMZ. From here, we can use the Graveyard effect of Guard Dragon to special back one of our vanillas and turn it into the 3rd copy of Imduk. From here, we can link both of our Imduks away for an SP Little Knight. We have to do this because SP requires effect monsters, so you can't use the vanillas, but this is a pretty decent board. We have a Baron de Fleur, we have an SP Little Knight, and we have a Heavenly Spheres, which can float into a Bestial, which we are playing in this variant of the deck. So the second combo is going to be using the Wanted engine, and the combo is going to be Wanted plus a discard, as we will need one for the star. So we're going to start by activating our Wanted and adding a Dialga Star from deck to hand, and then using the star, discarding this Ash Blossom to summon it, and use the effect to place the Snake Eyes on the field, sending the star to summon the TG Rocket Salamander from the deck. From here, we can tribute the TG Rocket Salamander to summon a Screw Serpent from the deck, which on special summon can special a TG back from graveyard, so we'll summon back the Salamander. That is 5 levels of material with 1 tuner, so we can make the Ib, and we can search a copy of Wild Legacy Wild Chalice. We haven't normal summoned yet, so we can now tribute off this Ib to summon our Wild Legacy Wild Chalice, which will trigger our Ib to summon a Lee from the deck. From here, we can use Lee to add this Wild Chalice Guard Dragon, and then we can link off both of our Wild Legacy and our Lee to go into a copy of Aurum. This is going to trigger our Wild Legacy Wild Chalice in graveyard to special summon 2 monsters, and we're going to summon 2 copies of Beckoned. From here, we're going to link one of our copies of Beckoned off for a copy of Imduk, and then we are going to use the effect of our Lee in graveyard, sending the Wild Chalice Guard Dragon from our hand to add it back to hand, and then normal summoning it off the Imduk. From here, we can use the Aurum, tributing the Imduk to special summon back this Ib, and then we can use the Wild Chalice Guard Dragon to special summon back this copy of Beckoned, which we can then overlay to go into a copy of Merrymaker, and then into a copy of Sargass. This is going to allow us to search for a copy of Furion Disc Colosseum, and add a Regulus from our deck to our hand. From here, we can synchro off our Lee and our Ib for a copy of Ancient Fairy Dragon, getting rid of this Disc Colosseum since it served its purpose, to get a copy of Kyoto Waterfront. From here, we can use, well, not the Regulus effect yet, because we need to link off the Sargass. We can link off the Aurum and the Sargass to go for a copy of Lib, and then we can use the Furion King Regulus, attaching one of these Spriggan monsters to it. From here, we can use the Lib effect to set a copy of Succession for the deck, and then use it to bring back a monster from our graveyard, linking it off with the Ancient Fairy Dragon to go for a Sayuja. This is going to put 5 counters on our Waterfront, and after we have 3, we can add the Gamma Seal, and then we can use the Sayuja effect to special summon back the Gamma Seal. So the end board for this version of the combo ends us with a Gamma Seal, which, if you don't know what Gamma Seal's effect is, because this card does have an effect, when your opponent activates a card or an effect, except for Gamma Seal the Sea Turtle, you can remove 2 Kaiju counters from anywhere on the field and negate the activation, and if you do, banish that card. Waterfront gains a counter every single time a card goes to the graveyard, so essentially we have a large amount of negates, since we can remove 2 from the waterfront, negate and banish something, remove another 2 to go down to 1, negate and banish something, and then if we hit if a card hits the graveyard from either our opponent or our own, we get another counter. The Regulus is an Omni negate, and because it tributes itself for cost, it will send both the Regulus and the Sargasso to graveyard, which adds an extra 2 counters to our waterfront, which means we are guaranteed to have at least 4 negates if we use them properly, and we will likely have even more because our opponent is going to have to send some cards to the graveyard to do their combo. This combo is also quite strong because we end on a Gamma Seal, which means we can't be Kaiju'd. So if our opponent is playing Kaijus, unlucky, we've got the one monster in the game that has negates on it that can't be Kaiju'd. We'll go into the third combo now, and this is a little bit more resource intensive. It requires Wanted, a normal monster, and a discard, but it ends on a much funnier board. So we're going to start by activating our Wanted and adding a copy of Diablo Star from the deck to the hand, and then we're going to use this Diablo Star, discarding our Gamma to special summon it, and placing the Snake Eyes spell from the deck, and then sending Diablo Star to summon the TG Rocket Salamander, triggering it to summon the Screw Serpent to summon back the TG Rocket Salamander, and then we can go into our copy of Ib. From here, we can use Ib's Effect, not sending it to the graveyard, to search for a copy of Wild Legacy Wild Chalice. From here, we can normal summon our Beckoned and turn it into an Imduk, and then we can tribute our Imduk to normal summon our Wild Legacy Wild Chalice, and then we can link it off for a copy of Owl Mirage. This is going to trigger our Wild Legacy Wild Chalice to special summon a Guard Dragon and a Lee from the deck. Lee is going to trigger here to search a vanilla monster from the deck, and we're going to go for Chosen because it is a level 3. From here, we can synchro off our Guard Dragon and our Ib to go into a copy of Muddy Mud Dragon. This is going to trigger our Ib since it left the field to special summon a second copy of Guard Dragon from the deck, where we can use the Muddy Mud Dragon to fusion summon. And you might be expecting a Dragoon here, as you have seen in many other decks previously, but we're actually going to go for the Buster Blader fusion because this requires Buster Blader and a Dragon monster. From here, we're going to trigger the Guard Dragon's effect on our graveyard to banish it to special summon a normal monster from our graveyards, and we're going to go for the Beckoned. From here, we can use the Beckoned and the Beckoned to go into an Imduk, and then the Imduk and the Owl Mirage to go into a copy of Lib. This is going to trigger our Imduk to special summon this Chosen from our hand. From here, we can use Lib's effect to place Wild Legacy Succession, and we can use it to special summon back this Ib, and then use the Chosen and the Ib to go for a Buster Dragon. This is the Buster Blader Synchro monster. It is a generic 8, and it states that all monsters your opponent controls become dragons. And once per turn, if you do not control Buster Blader, you can special summon a Buster Blader from your graveyard, specifically Buster Blader, not a Buster Blader monster. And once per opponent's turn, you can target a Buster Blader monster you control and equip it with a Destruction Sword monster from your graveyard. Probably talk about the fusion now. So this card gains 1,000 attack and defense for each dragon monster your opponent controls or is in their graveyard. You change all dragon monsters your opponent controls to defense position, and also dragon monsters in your opponent's possession cannot activate their effects, and it also does piercing damage. So this is making all of our opponent's monsters they control a dragon, and this is gaining attack for every dragon, and is essentially Baguska. Well, kind of like Rexstrom. Well, I guess it is basically Baguska because it puts everything in defense. So yeah, that's pretty strong. We've essentially just got a really, really big Baguska on the field, but we are going to go a little bit further. We're going to link off our Lib and our Lee to go for a copy of the Protector Whelp of the Destruction Swordsman. This is a generic Link 2, which is a dragon, and it says if this card is Link summoned, you can send a Destruction Sword card from your deck to the graveyard, then you can special summon a Buster Blader from your hands. We're going to send the Dragon Buster Destruction Sword. A lot of people might recognize this card. This one says you can target a Buster Blader, equip this monster from your hand or field to that target. While this card is equipped to a monster, your opponent cannot special summon monsters from the extra deck. This is the only real effect we care about. So essentially, we are going to be able to use this Synchro monster to target our Buster Blader fusion and equip it with the Dragon Buster Destruction Sword from our graveyard. And once we get to that point, if we just fast forward quickly, we end on this board, which is all of our opponent's monsters are dragons. Our opponent's monsters that are dragons are switched to defense position, and dragon monsters in our opponent's possession cannot activate their effects. So we have Baguska, and they also cannot special summon monsters from the extra deck, so this is pretty strong. It's very difficult to remove this card with monsters specifically because you can't use their effects. This is massive and everything is in defense position, and you could make a Link monster, but this guy is going to be very, very large. But they can't make a Link monster because they can't go into their extra deck, which is quite fun. So this was the third and final combo. I hope you did enjoy this video. If you want to see the lists, let me know. Maybe I'll make an additional video about it in the future. But yeah. Make sure you're subscribed if you want to see that, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Have a good one.